Hey everybody, Bill Treadway here with you once again. I just want to discuss with you a quick topic here as we get going in our day that there is still slavery that exists in the world. You know, here in the United States, I don't know about the rest of you out there, but here in the United States, there is something in our political system that is a real hot box for um, contention, a real hot box for uh, political fires for people to try, one group or another, to try and get people on their side by using what we call the race card. And the race card is basically saying that one group or another doesn't like a certain segment of society, whether it's a Democrat not liking a Latino, or whether it's a Republican not liking African American just because of their color. But there's something even more hideous than race that is actually going on in the country and in the world, and that is slavery. Slavery at one time was fought over here in the United States in the 1860s when President Abraham Lincoln was in office, and slavery was being fought as to whether we were going to continue to keep slavery in this country or not. And the end result of the Civil War here in the U.S. was that no, we were not keeping slavery, we were getting rid of it by the result of the war. But still, even with all that bloodshed and all that political wrangling back and forth, and with all the other things that have gone on in the government of the United States here, we still have slavery. And as a matter of fact, when you consider the rest of the world, we still have slavery in another form throughout the rest of the world, no matter how many wars have been fought, no matter how many people have been freed from slavery that has been enacted upon them. There is still a slavery that is global in nature that is being foisted upon the people in what is known as the banking system. And the central banks and the IMF and all those that are into the old money, all those that have had their hands in the global currencies of the countries that they're a part of, their fiat currencies that have held the sway over the people for a long time, are now getting ready to see their power slip because of a sector called digital assets, or what many people in the world would know as Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now, there has not been a new asset class created since England created bonds back in 1694, I believe it was, to fund the war. And so that would make 323 or so years that the last asset class was created. And now, with the formation of Bitcoin back in 2007-8, the enactment of Bitcoin coming into the culture and into use in certain segments way back then, and now the snowball having picked up steam and having grown in mass and having picked up volume and speed going down this hill of cultural adoption. We see, as we look globally at banking system and at the enslavement of individuals around the world, that there are certain people that are, what have been up to this point, unable to do any banking, unable to keep money safe, unable to transact business very easily because, number one, either the banking systems were corrupt, or the banking system was so far away from where they live because of the locale that they couldn't get there, and therefore the little bit of money that they had to be able to protect themselves to be able to do any kind of transactions that would help their family or keep their business or keep their farming or their food supply going. And over the time, especially here in the US, I can only speak to what's going on in the US, but since the early 1900s, when the Federal Reserve was created, it was actually an underhanded sleight of hand thing that was done by those who controlled 25% of the money in the world at the time, who were in the money system, and who were the richest people in the world at the time, who got together to create the Federal Reserve so that they would be able to have a corner on the market and have a monopoly on the money in the country and be able to hold sway over what went on and who got and who didn't get the money. and bringing it fast forward up until recent times back in 2008, 2009, when we had the financial meltdown here in the United States, which caused a ripple effect around the world that also rippled out and created the problems that were in Cyprus, the problems that were in Turkey, the problems that are now in Brazil, the problems that we see in France, the problems that were in Italy and in Spain, that so many systems have had a ripple effect from that. And I just wanted to encourage you guys to look into digital assets. Look into Bitcoin, look into cryptocurrency, look into digital assets, do your own homework and find out what you can find and find out where you want to go to be able to free yourself from the slavery of the IMF and the central banks in the world. Because although they are giving you headlines out there in the news media that, oh, Bitcoin is only for terrorists and criminals and those drug dealers that use the Silk Highway, that it's not for you. And the whole time that those people have been saying that, they have been in the background through the OTC market, they have been buying up the digital assets. They've been buying up Bitcoin, and they've been buying up XRP and Litecoin and Ethereum and things of that nature, so that they could set themselves up to be the heroes when it comes to the point of the monetary system switching over from fiat currency to digital assets, and that becoming a global entity in itself. So I encourage you to take a look at digital assets themselves, at Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the whole blockchain technology and the market that is evolving right now and is pretty much in its early infancy. And it's getting ready to see an explosion with the central banks and the IMF and all the financial players in the market coming into the space that we call digital assets. And I encourage you, while there's still time, get yourself in there. A small investment in whatever you see fit in the digital asset space could potentially change your future, the future of your children, and potentially the future of generations of your family to come. So just a word of encouragement for you guys to look into that, do your own homework, and to educate yourself. If you want to leave some comments, there's space below to make a comment. And if you want to look into digital assets a little further, I have some links down below for you to look into, to be able to do some homework for yourself and find out what the space is all about. So until next time, we'll talk to you later. Take care.